Hello, welcome again to the story of my life. The last time I talked about the beginning, how I started to paint. And today I would like to talk about the second big inspiration I had in my artistic practice. And this inspiration is connected with yoga, or better said, or more specifically, the practice called body mind centering. And before I actually go more into it, I would like to say a little bit about the circumstances I got into contact with and how I was relating to my artistic practice in that moment. Because all these different factors I can see now kind of came at that time into a certain together moment of like really fitting one another. And I find this fascinating now. And so let's see, where should I start? At that moment, I was painting the kind of stuff you could see in the previous video. And already that was the beginning of, I would say, deconstruction of the painting process itself. And what I mean by that is that I slowly started to observe what are the ingredients of the painting itself. And I tried to pick each one of them and go a little bit into it to kind of focus on one part of the painting process. And that means that the images that came out were more and more abstract. For example, one of the paintings I did was just make with this size brush white horizontal strokes, one by another, until I came to the end of the surface. And as I did this, all I did was just to be attentively present and observe what was happening. And this was interesting for me at that moment because if you watch previous videos also, you remember I was fascinated by the details of the nature itself, like how you can actually go with your focus onto a surface of a natural object and reveal its microcosmos just by going with your focus deeper and deeper into it. And at that moment, as I also went back to painting, I was observing that you could also see these microstructures, surface, texture in the paint itself. You could see all different little strokes going this side, that side, and all this kind of also had its own language, which I was interested in. So I did these kinds of experiments, like what happens if you just do very simple things with color and the surface, which was paper for me at that time because it was freely available at the academy. And so I was just doing straight strokes, circular things, like really simple abstract images. And okay, so this was one part. Now let's put this aside and go into another section of my life. At that time, I was like, I would say, probably most of other students, just being normally social active, going outside to uh, some clubs, dancing, drinking during the day, hanging around a little bit, working in the studio, reading books, eating here and there, cooking a little bit, hanging around, not really much sports, not really a particularly healthy lifestyle, I would say, though I was feeling all right. And just once after a really bumpy nights, dancing in the club, drinking. I went to a coffee place in the city in Ljubljana, and I sat down there by myself, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, and feeling miserable. And as I was sitting there, close by, like one or two tables away from my table, there were two women talking. And as I was drinking there and smoking, I could just get some information into my ear, like what they were talking about. And I heard they were talking about yoga. And the way this woman talked about yoga fascinated me. And at that moment, I just said to myself, I want this lady to be my yoga teacher. Okay. I didn't do anything about that in that moment. But 1 year later, as I already completely forgot about the idea that I want to practice yoga, I met a friend from high school, I think, in Ljubljana, and she invited me for a tea to her apartment. And there was another roommate of hers, and that roommate said that next morning or evening she's going to attend some new yoga class there was. She just heard of it, and she invited me to go with her. So I said, okay, why not? So next day I come there, and well, I see this lady is there, this yoga teacher I wanted for me to be my teacher. And I was fascinated, of course. So I started going to that yoga class. Actually, it was not really called yoga, but it was called active relaxation. And what that means was that we were really slowly, with much awareness, coming into contact with our own bodies, coming into contact with the gravitation, the pull of the earth upon our bodies, that we just try to let go of all the tensions into the floor and to relax and connect with the earth or just the floor surface. There was actually nothing spiritual about it, very technical, I could say, but very effective in a way that I could, at the first time in my life, really deeply relax and become aware of quietness that there is present when the mind is not active, or when you're just not going after one thought or the other thought, but just being with yourself. And that fascinated me. And out of this being with myself and this quietness, then after some time, we were doing more and more exercises, different kinds of stuff. And many times in this quietness of being inside my own body, images arose. Images of what's going on in the body, like the different flows of energy, I could say, or how the breath is spreading, like going throughout the whole system, or circulating, or expanding and contracting. And this was very interesting information for me, which I wanted to paint or draw. So this whole series that I call Drawing of the Body came into being. And as you saw different kinds of drawings and paintings before, I can say that, for example, what we were doing was that we were focusing on different aspects of our body, how it works, like how it's built. For example, we would focus on the breath itself, the breathing, the nature of breathing, or we would focus on the bone structure, or we would focus on the just the skin itself maybe, or the muscles, or the circulation of the blood, or the nervous system, different kinds of ways. Mm. So, and this is what I wanted to say about actually. And these images that I did at that time, I could say were really coming out of this like really nice, fresh, new inspiration that was very much uncorrupted, I would say. Uncorrupted in a way that what I used as the means of expression was very simple. I was just using brown paper, white color, and charcoal at most. And then sometime later, I also tried to do something with colors. But still, now I think that the more simple I did it, and the more direct the expression of what was seen or observed on the inside was, the more direct was also the message that the work had, or the impact that it had. Like when you looked at it, sometimes I felt like I could really quickly connect with one exercise, or maybe with one part of what actually is going on inside the body through the image, in a way that it would instantly help me to relax and to connect with my being. And this is something that I also would like for others to be able to do, to relate to the paintings or the drawings in this way. I'm not really sure that this actually worked in any way, but still I feel like that the the shape or the flow of the lines that I try to draw would give a certain message of what's going on in the body. Well, see for yourself, and if you would like, I would really be glad if maybe anyone could try to do an experiment and maybe visit the website, or just try to see the paintings here at the YouTube video, and try to take some more time with it, like to observe it for a little more longer, and try to take it into your system to see like how you can relate with the image throughout your body. Of course, it would be much easier if you would see the paintings live at the exhibition, because they are very huge. They are like 2 meters tall, so that you can confront them with your whole body, and that they can confront you, and then something can happen between the two entities. But unfortunately, at the moment, I'm not having any exhibitions with these works. And if there is going to be any, you will be invited for sure. But until now, maybe we can work also through this YouTube channel. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.